Okay, so let's move on to the ear. Again, I want you to know some basic ideas about how this works and the physics that's involved. But also just wanted to begin by saying what we'd said before, that the human ear covers 12 orders of magnitude in the detection of sound. And that's just remarkable that you can have an instrument on your body that lasts for most of your life, a good, 70 to 90 years or so, that can detect sounds that cover such a wide range of intensities. So first of all, let's look at the basic parts. We have the external, middle, and inner ear. The middle ear, and then the internal. This is also called the outer ear, and this is also called the inner ear. So if you hear talk of an inner ear infection, that's what they're talking about. Now the outer ear consists of the auricle and the ear canal. The auricle is that funky thing that you have on the outside of your head. It's the visible part of the ear. It does have a funky looking shape, and the shape is actually helped to direct sound waves to the ear. And not just any sound waves, but the shape is such that it directs sound waves of the appropriate frequency. So it's not really going to help anything with a frequency of 20 million hertz or 19 hertz or whatever that's outside of that frequency spectrum. So that's why you have that funky shape. It helps to direct sound waves into the ear canal. Now the ear canal is it's about 1 inch long. It's the part after the auricle, so you're not supposed to stick anything down in there. Nothing smaller than your elbow down into your ear canal. So don't use Q-tips, don't use your fingers, don't put anything down in there. You don't want to mess around with your ear canal. It's about 1 inch long, a couple centimeters. It's open at the auricle and closed at the eardrum. And it helps to amplify the sound. Kind of like what we saw with the resonance tubes before, it will actually amplify the sound as it travels down towards your eardrum. Now we'll look at the middle ear. The middle ear consists of the eardrum or the tympanic membrane, and it also consists of three bones. These are the smallest bones in the body, and they're called the auditory ossicles. The eardrum is sometimes also called the tympanic membrane. It always makes me think of those big drums that they have in the orchestras with the guy standing there with the big mallets and he bangs on them right during a concert. It's a lot like that. It's this sheet that's stretched across your ear canal that sound pressure waves will impinge upon and cause it to vibrate. Uh, that vibration is further pushed onto the auditory ossicles, and then those will help to amplify that sound. But more about that in just a second. Now, the middle ear also has the opening to the pharynx. This is called the eustachian tube. Let's see, eustachian. And this is where you equalize pressure with the atmosphere when you yawn. And this can get blocked when you have mucus in it or it becomes infected. Let me go ahead and show you a picture here. So here's our auricle right here. Have our auricle. It's that funky side. This guy has a very strange looking auricle. And then here's your ear canal right here. And then down here we have the tympanic membrane or the eardrum. And then here, these three little bones right here, I forget their names. It's like the malleus, the incus, and something else, the stapes, I think. These three bones take vibrations from your eardrum, and then they will transfer them into this thing, which is called the cochlea. Or I guess this is the vestibule. I think the whole thing is called the cochlea. Anyway, it's going to transfer those vibrations into this thing, which will then translate that into an electrical signal. All right. The eardrum is also called the tympanic membrane. I already said this. and it vibrates when sound impinges upon it. So, if this is my eardrum, I have these pressure waves. They will cause the eardrum to move back and forth at whatever the frequency of the wave is. Okay, the auditory ossicles are three small bones. The malleus, incus, and stapes. I was right, actually. Uh, these ossicles will transfer vibrations from the eardrum to the inner ear. And the force of these vibrations is multiplied by about a factor of 20. So they act as a sort of lever, right? Remember, if we have something like this, it's sort of like this, where if I put a small force down here, I get a big force down here. And your ossicles work very much in that way. They put in a small force from your eardrum, and they put out a force that's about 20 times bigger onto the inner ear. We will Now let's go and do the inner ear. We have three parts in the inner ear. We have the cochlea. This is a fluid-filled chamber. It's all wrapped up. Looks like a little snail. Um, that has pressure waves for different pitch sounds. All right, let's see. So it's a fluid-filled chamber. Pressure waves enter it. And cause hair cells to vibrate. These hair cells are going to be tuned to particular frequencies, and the cochlea is really where it takes those pressure waves that come from the sound impinges upon the ear, it transfers to the eardrum, causes the eardrum to vibrate, it causes those ossicles to transfer these vibrations to the cochlea, it causes these pressure variations in the fluid inside the cochlea, and then as those pressure waves move through the cochlea, they will excite or resonate with particular hair cells in the cochlea, which will then translate that to an electrical signal sent to your brain through the auditory nerve that will say, okay, now you're hearing a sound with a frequency of 200 hertz or whatever it is. Okay, so the cochlea just simply takes these pressure waves and sends it to the brain as an electrical signal. I have a video I want you to watch. It's actually a pretty good video that shows how the ear works. So go ahead and watch that. It will help to explain sort of some of the physics that's going on here and some of the biology as well. Now, the vestibule and the semicircular canal, don't really need to know much about these. Just know that these help to maintain your balance. In fact, there's a very interesting video that I do want you to watch, and I really want you to try this. Is something called getting dizzy, right? Everybody gets dizzy. You spin around and you get dizzy. And the reason that is because when you spin around, after you stop, the fluid in your ears continues to move. Because if you have a spinning fluid, it just has a little bit of inertia and it'll keep spinning. But there's another type of dizzy that's called up-down dizzy. That is really a strange sensation, and I want you to experience it. Find a place with a lot of area and some nice soft ground, some grass out in the quad maybe, and try out this thing. But first, watch the video. It's pretty interesting, and who knows, I might ask you to do an up-down dizzy for the test, okay? All right, I think that's it. We will pick back up with hearing problems and a couple other small things, and we'll be done.